I think I can get it open without a screwdriver. But on second thought, I think I need a screwdriver. So, out of the back. The other issue is in the front end. I think I mentioned a time or two. I have some. Why is that turned around? It's not even pointing towards me. Okay, let's just start this all over again. Once again, here on the MT and Me, we pause to have the Equinox and me. Dealing with maybe a few of these little issues that we have on this 2006 Equinox. And of course, I have my trusty book here. Haynes, thank you so much for providing information. One thing that's not in this book, though, is what I want to deal with first of all. Now, you probably remember we did almost an entire program some time ago about Pearl's horn. I had gotten her headlights worked. As I said, I got her eyes fixed. I wanted to get her voice fixed. Well, I still haven't to this day. We started checking into the horn and couldn't figure out why in the world Pearl's horn doesn't work. The horn itself, I took it out and I can make it honk. It does just fine. But there's something between the steering switch and the horn that's not right in Pearl. Haven't found it yet, but we will. Don't worry. So I'm driving the other day in this car, and it suddenly occurs to me, I wonder what her horn sounds like. So I go, and guess what? Can you believe it? There's no horn. So I start thinking, I go to Nebraska to buy a 77 Dodge RV, and the horn doesn't work. I go the other direction to Louisiana, buy a 2006 Equinox, and the horn doesn't work. Go figure. Okay, so I start looking into the Equinox horn problem, because on Pearl, it's not an issue. I'm not driving her around yet. This car, I would feel much, much better if I knew that I had something that went beep, beep, whenever I needed it to. The Haynes book doesn't say much about the horn. It just tells you how to replace it. The horn, by the way, is located behind the left driver's side headlight. You have to take that headlight assembly out to get to it. That'll be fun one of these days. But we're not going that far first, because a little quick trip online and looking at the official Equinox repair manual yields the wiring schematic for the horn. And you probably can't tell much about it, but trust me, it's a lot more complicated than the horn circuit in Pearl is. I haven't figured out Pearl's problem. I really don't know if I can handle this one or not. But I do see one thing I can check real quick, and that is in the fuse block under the hood. This car, by the way, has two fuse blocks. There's one right down here on the side of the center console, and there's another one under the hood. So that being said, this fuse block is under the hood, and there is a fuse, a 15 amp fuse, and also a relay for the horn. So I guess we should start with those. All right, here we are under the hood, and this is the fuse box on the Equinox. Making rhymes here. So, book says to release the tabs. Okay, that wasn't too difficult. And there they are. There are the fuses. Fortunately, there's an embossed guide on the inside of the lid. Which one says horn? The fuse puller should be right there. But you know it's not. And I know exactly where it is. Yeah, I found it inside the cabin in an earlier excursion. So which one of these? Let me see. It says it's 15 amp fuse is the one. Hope I'll be able to pull this thing or not. You know what? This is my preferred fuse puller. Works every time. And although I didn't bring a meter with me, that fuse looks good. We're going to put it back. One of these is the horn relay. I don't see a horn relay on here. Oh, there it is. You know, I think I just found the problem. There is not a horn relay. Well, gee, that makes a big difference. I'm gonna put the fuse puller back where it belongs, right there, and put this back in place. Okay, so mystery of the horn maybe solved, maybe not. We'll go get a relay and find out. So there are a few other things here on the Equinox that I definitely want to check out. For one thing, the windshield washer doesn't, things are falling on me, doesn't seem to be working. Now the pump's running, I can hear it, the pump. But if I look at the spouts on the wipers, it's just a little bit trying to bubble out. Now that means one of two things. Either there's a very bad clog in the feed line, or there's a clogged filter. There's a filter in the very bottom of the washer reservoir, just ahead of the pump, that you can take out and just clean in your sink with soap and water. That's probably where the problem is, unless the pump has actually gotten weak. But it is running, like I said. So anyway, we'll check that out. But you have to take the reservoir out to do it, and I just don't really have time to get into that today. There is one really big issue that I want to look into. Actually, there's two. The first one is these cars can develop a problem in the evaporation system, where it evaporates fuel vapors. There's a mechanical, I say mechanical, obviously it's a mechanical valve, but it's an electrically controlled valve that controls the release of fumes from the charcoal evap canister, which is under the car right in front of the fuel tank. It's actually real easy to get to. And if that valve malfunctions, for one thing, it flags you with a check engine light for the evap code, and I've got that. The other thing is it takes forever to put gas in your gas tank, because if you just put the spout in there and pull the crank up and let it go, it's going to go about 5 seconds at the most and kick off, because it can't vent the tank as you're putting fluid into it. So you have to just real slowly put gas in the tank, and that ain't gonna work. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna. It would take 20 minutes or more to fill this tank up that way. So yeah, we're gonna check that little evap valve. Okay, so there's that. The other problem is probably, I would say, the most serious issue I have found with this car. I have a clunk that occurs from time to time in the front end. It seems to be on the driver's side, and what it sounds like is a lower control arm bushing that has gone. Now, those of you who watch this channel know I have had my rounds with upper and lower control arms on Lady, the Jeep that Reed drives. Changed out the front end completely, replacing ball joints and upper control arms on the Jeep. I learned a whole lot doing that. One of the big things I learned is that I don't really want to mess with front ends, and I don't want to take chances when it comes to ball joints or control arms or anything like that. So this is a problem that's got to be addressed quickly. The two lower control arms have a ball joint built in on them, so I'll automatically be replacing the lower ball joint. And they come with bushings, and you can get a pair of them, left and right for the front, for less than $100. First of all, I'm going to confirm that that's the problem. I'll let a mechanic look at this. And then I will order those and see if I can just negotiate with that mechanic maybe to put them on, because I don't want to get into it myself. I've watched videos on the job, and I'm pretty sure I could do it if it comes down to it. I could take care of it and save myself a lot of money in the process. But this is one of those times I really think I don't mind spending the money. So I'll keep you posted on that. All right. So that is today's Equinox update here on the MT and Me. I'm going to go see if I can buy a horn relay. Stay tuned. We'll see what happens. So here we are in the last few days of February. Let me show you something. Aren't they beautiful? My first daffodils of the season. Wow. That is just incredible that they're blooming here at the end of February. Just amazing, amazing. Equally amazing today. First of all, it's very windy, very breezy, but it's also like 83 degrees. No kidding, 83. And you tell me global warming's a farce. Well, anyway, we're not here to talk about the weather. Remember how we were looking in the fuse box and we discovered that the horn relay was completely missing? Well, I got a horn relay, and we're going to put it in and see if that's the problem with the Equinox's horn. I hope so. That'd be a nice, easy fix. All right, so here we go. Let's get the top off the fuse box. This is the spot right here where the relay is supposed to go for the horn. And as you can see, it's empty. Well, we're gonna fix that right now. One relay fits like so. Now let's see if it makes a difference. The test. Well, shoot. Still don't have a horn. Darn. I was really hoping for a quick fix. Should have known better. So, we know the fuse is good. But thing is, we got the relay and the horn is still not working. So, I guess it's back to the drawing board and see what the next thing is we can check. My worst case scenario here, inside the steering wheel, behind the airbag, which is located in this big padded part, there's they call it a clock spring because it looks just like the coil spring, the mainspring in a clock. It allows the wheel to turn back and forth and still maintain electrical connections for all of these buttons on the wheel. For the cruise control, there's also buttons here for radio control to adjust the volume, and the horn is fed through there as well. And if you have a problem with that spring, that clock spring, then if you end up having to replace it or work on it, you have to pull the steering wheel completely off of the steering shaft here on the inside and then get into the guts and work on it. I'm pretty sure I can do that, but I've never done it before. I don't have a steering wheel puller. I'd have to acquire one, borrow one, or rent one from somewhere. So, yeah, it's not a job I'm immediately prepared to do. So, I will check everything else I can check before we approach that as the problem. That's the last resort. And like I said, the worst case scenario. In the meantime, let's hope I don't need a horn out on the road. Okay, it is yet a third day here on the MT and me, and our interesting winter weather has gone from sunny and mid-80s to mostly cloudy, not as windy, and about 50. So, yeah, the extra layer here and the hot coffee are really hitting the spot. You just wait 24 hours and you never know what you're going to get. February in the Mid-South. So strange this year. But anyway, I've spent a lot more time this week working on the Equinox's horn than I really expected to. So I thought, let's at least give Pearl a little equal time and come back and take a look at her horn's situation once again. Well, it's still not working, but I think I know why this time. Her battery's too low. So we dug out the charger and kind of bringing things back up to speed. I put a trickle charge on this battery about every 7 to 10 days anyway, because just sitting here and not being used and is not good for it. And of course, with no alternator running to charge it, it will eventually go down. And I think that's exactly what happened. Although it seems to have gone down rather rapidly, so I may have a load on it in Pearl that I'm not sure of. So I'm going to have to go back through and check all the switches and things like that and just be sure that I'm not trying to power something with it because it's supposed to be completely turned off. Best option for that is, When I get a charge on it, I'll just disconnect it after we check her horn again. But apparently that is going to have to wait until another time, because I'm kind of powerless right now to do anything with it. But I just didn't want to forget the old girl, not by any means. So, thanks a lot for being with us this week. That's going to wrap it up. Below you'll find links to themtandme.com, also a link to buy me a coffee, and you can click subscribe if you haven't already. Give me a thumbs up, a like on this video, and join us each and every week for horn business and other fascinating things with Pearl and the Equinox and anything else I can find to work on. All right, see you next time. Till then, I'm Russ. Thanks, everyone. I love you, Nomies. Here's to you. We'll talk later.